Lenny Jarrett with Champion News.
My sympathies.
I have a couple of questions for you. I know you do a lot with education and education policy, so I wanted to kind of find out what your role was with the Race to the Top Common Core and what your thoughts are on that.
I have no role in either one of them. Race to the Top, in my view, is No Child Left Behind in drag. And it's a rebranding. In fact, the Secretary of Education said that himself. He said, No Child Left Behind has gotten bad press, so let's rebrand it and call it Race to the Top. Same idea. And I'll take it one step further. The Secretary of Education, acting like a program officer from some foundation, is an obscenity. It makes no sense for the Secretary of Education to say, you get a grant, but you don't get a grant. What is that about? He's the Secretary of Education of the whole damn country, every kid. So he doesn't, to me, the idea that he would be dividing up the piece and give a piece to Rhode Island and a piece to Michigan, but not a piece to Arkansas, what is the point of that? So no, I hate Race to the Top. I have no role in it. Common Standard, Common Core. I know a lot of people who feel motivation and involved with it. I think it's a catastrophe.
And what would you see as what level should the curriculum be developed at? What level do you think the curriculum should be developed at?
I'm sorry, I'm moving. That's because my knee hurts. The truth is that what we need to do is to invest in teachers and teaching. And the fact is that there's not a single second grade teacher in Chicago who doesn't want her kids to read more and to read better. We don't need the government telling us with all their good intentions, here's how you do it. And this is so. Here, take my granddaughter. The other day, she was staying overnight and she was in the bath and she was singing the days of the week. And I said, oh, that's so great. Why don't you teach her the song we sung sometimes about the months of the year? And she said, no time. And I said, what? And she said, no, there's no time in kindergarten. In pre-K there was time, but no time in kindergarten. That's the Common Core. The idea that you're going to assess people because they can sing the days of the week, but not the months of the year, or somehow the months of the year. Anyone who knows anything about actual classrooms and what they look like will tell you that if you have 30 kids in a classroom, you have 30 curriculum. And everyone is different and everyone's coming. That doesn't mean you don't teach certain books and teach certain skills, you do. But you also have to recognize that the interest of a kid is essential in their learning. What we've developed now is a system of distrust, fear, and we think that's going to motivate people. I don't think so. I think we have to follow the interests of we have to invest in teachers and then follow the interests of students.
What should the salary be for a teacher? What's the average salary for a teacher?
I think $100,000 a year is a good starting salary. I mean, isn't that what lawyers start out at? I could be absurd about it, but the truth is that teaching is a 24/7 kind of job. People pretend you get off at 3 and you have the summers off. That's not even close to true. Teaching consumes you. I was a teacher before I was a shipyard worker, and then I was a teacher after I was a shipyard worker. I made more as a shipyard worker than I ever made as a teacher. And the great thing about being a shipyard worker, if you're ever looking to get out of the press, is that they don't own your mind. They don't own your personality. You just do the work and then you leave. Teaching is all-consuming, and you invest your entire intellect and personality and spirit into it. It deserves a much greater reward than it has.
Right. One quick question. You talked about government. You didn't want the government telling the locals what to do, but then earlier in your speech you were talking about how the government should be mandating.
I don't know if I said the government shouldn't tell them that.
Well, we were talking about the curriculum, in which you said the government shouldn't be telling everybody what to do.
Oh,
but they used about mandating it earlier.
Let me throw it to you, because you're a press guy, so you think about the First Amendment stuff. Tell me something that every 7th grader in America should know and that we should mandate that they know. Give me one example.
I don't think there should be mandates at all, actually. My point is we shouldn't be mandates. It'd be at the local level.
But if you
Parents
were
should be in charge.
if you were in the local level, okay, so she thinks math. What else? How about the Bill of Rights? That's a good one. What's the 6th Amendment?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, you're not a 7th grader, so who cares? But that's my point. My point is the glorification of a skill or a piece of knowledge over the capacity to think and have access to things is nuts. So no, I think we should invest in teaching. I think we should invest in teachers. I think we should have smaller classrooms. I think we should have state-of-the-art buildings. I trust teachers if we would unleash them. I don't think anybody's going to, I don't think the idea that somehow the whole solution to this thing is to get on task with Race to the Top and then test to see if they got there, it's doomed to fail. And the kids who are going to fail are the kids who will predictably fail in this, racially hierarchicalized, class society. Okay.
Bill, Jeremy Siegel, Breitbart News, we've met before.
Oh yeah, of course, Breitbart. Oh shit! I had dinner with him. You remember?
I know you did.
Yeah.
And
Shortly
being a
before he
follower of
passed
his,
away.
I definitely agree with your right to speak freely and have more conversation,
do.
not less. But I'm not sure what Lenny's question was. I wanted to get your take, being an advocate of strong education, on Common Core standards.
I just told him. You didn't hear me?
I'm just going to shake your hand and go teach. So.
Nice to meet you, and thank you. You're out of the Catholic system. Didn't you come out of the Catholic system? No, that was a different person. Okay.
I have a quick.
Common Core. As I said, some people with good intentions began to motivate that thing. It's a disaster, and it's a disaster because it depends on a false idea, which is testing is the way to understand. It's data-driven. What we need is schools that are student-driven and data-informed. Data-driven is a madness.
And secondly, last question, you were very open about your past here today. The university chose not to publish that in their bio of you.
You can find it's easy to find in the modern world. You can find it all. It's on my website.
Right.
Check it out.
You're openly known. You're one of probably the most famous revolutionaries in the country these days in modern times. So,
infamous.
What I want to know is you claim today to be, in your past, a militant anti-war activist.
Still am.
There are also many anti-war. Youth today is taking up a lot of the same issues and causes that you took up in your militant past.
Tell me more about it. Yeah.
Do you have a responsibility, and if you do, what is that responsibility to talk to students about that militant past and how activists who protested and marched with you ended up getting severely hurt and killed during your time as a militant activist? Is there a responsibility
I think all of us have responsibility.
to warn kids today?
What is it you want me to warn them about?
They're going to be retaliated
The risks that they might incur being militant activists.
Wait, explain to me the risks.
Well,
what should I tell the
job,
kids?
loss of job, loss of
activists that marched with you in the Weather Underground were injured severely and killed.
Name.
The name. You've seen. You were in the documentary. You were in the documentary Weather Underground, right?
Listen. I think we all have a responsibility to have an open conversation about the risks and the benefits. If all we do is accept the status quo, then we're doomed to live in the status quo. We have a responsibility to name a better world and then to work toward it. So yes, I think we ought to do that. Should we talk about what are the risks, what are the responsibilities? Of course we should, and I do it all the time. All the time.
It's important.
So I know you follow me around a little bit, not nearly enough. So,
thank you. Appreciate it.
How is the United States going to get back on top in terms of education competing with other industrialized countries? How is China teaching its people? Because it seems to have everybody in society wants Chinese children to learn. I guess it's because they don't want, but here in our country there's so many divisions. It's separate. Can we ever get there?
I'm not sure I want to be on top, but we're a wildly diverse democracy.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
I don't think you would be happy in the Chinese system. For example, no school child in China will ever ask a question about the Tiananmen Square massacre, and the reason is it's suppressed. I don't think we want that. I think we want people to develop minds of their own. How do we get back to a more progressive educational agenda? Part of the way we do it is by looking at press conference. So that's
But see, we're in a capitalist society that's moving from
publicity about this event today in new media, online, and a lot of seems supporters and fans of Mr. Ayers, along with students, and then also a lot of opponents of Mr. Ayers here today. The main topic of controversy seemed to be his past as a radical, revolutionary, and by his words, militant activist, anti-war activist. Why would the university eliminate those issues from his bio and promotion of this event, only focusing on, his more recent history? Is it not pretty interesting that he does have that past, yet now he's coming around and speaking on college campuses. Is there a reason that that information would be kept from the promotional material, including the bio that was read today?
Well, we took his bio from his website, so that's where we got that information. And we acknowledged every time that we talked about this event, we talked about it quite a bit over the past few days. We acknowledge that he's a controversial figure. We understand that, but we thought it was important to give our students the right to talk to him, to question him about his ideas, and form their own opinions about the views. In terms of the bio, again, that's something that we took from his website. Typically, their speakers will provide a bio or will take it from a website. So that's where the bio came from. But again, in terms, you were correct. There were supporters here, there were opponents here, and it was a very good conversation, topics, and there were questions asked on both sides, which I think was great. And again, that fit right in with the college's values, as David Zacher talked about before, in terms of freedom of inquiry. We wanted to give the students an opportunity again to interact with him as a speaker, to question him about his views, and to form their own opinions.
Has the university ever brought anybody else in who has a history of bombing and things?
In terms of that, again, we wanted to make sure that we gave our students an opportunity to question him about his opinions and his values. In terms of other speakers we brought in, we try to bring in speakers with different viewpoints, different perspectives, and give our students an opportunity to interact with them.
Yeah. Will you be bringing in somebody with opposite viewpoints now that you had Bill Ayers in? Will you be trying to bring somebody else in?
That is something that we've discussed, and we got a lot of feedback from the community. Again, we received emails and phone calls on both sides of the issues, and we certainly got feedback about that. So our Humanities Center is looking into bringing in a speaker that has a different perspective.
Last quick question. There was reports that he was paid a stipend with taxpayer-funded money. Can you confirm that?
Correct.
Thank you.
Can you tell us how much that was?
$1,200.
$1,200, okay.
Wait, taxpayers paid to bring them in?
Well, all of the taxpayers fund the district, so the programs that are put on here are funded by taxpayers.
Can you think of like an equivalent on an opposing point of view who's been here before? Has Ann
Right now,
Coulter
I mean,
ever been here?
I can't speculate on who the next
No, I'm saying
speaker
who
would be.
have been here in the past.
Again, I can't speculate on a list of speakers that we've had in the past.
I just
but
wondered if you could think of offhand.
not off the top of my head, no, I can't think of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.